It's an attitude, a motivation, a deep-seated spirit. It's an inner strength to keep your feet planted firmly on the ground, no matter what presses against you. It's self-confidence. It's belief. It's a way of life. It's Fezek Athletics. Shop now at www.fezekeathletics.com to get your fitness gear now. Conquer your physique.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you listen to this podcast. This is the Men in Honor Podcast, episode 11. I'm your host, Javon, aka Rock, and I got with me my brothers, my brethrens. Got Greg and Frank. Again, Men in Honor Podcast, sponsored as always by Fezek Athletics. And with that being said, Frank, since this is your baby, Fezek, why don't you give a little background and everything as to what Fezek is all about?
All right, so physique is actually pronounced like the word physique, like it's in a dictionary. It's just the way you pronounce it. I know a lot of people, they say, how you pronounce it? Is it Fezek? Is it, I'm like, no, it's physique, just like the word. If you look at a dictionary, that's exactly how, it's spelled. So basically, I basically based it out as, city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Came with it probably around 2014, 2015, after, us basketball career was done. Once we, everybody got older, and I was the last one out of the bunch. I was just like, all
I was
right.
about to say I was done a couple years before that, so I don't know
Yeah,
what.
so I was like basically like, I was done. I was giving it up. I was tired of playing in leagues and stuff like that. So I actually, I was in the bodybuilding because of my dad. My daddy was, he wasn't a bodybuilder, but he was always in the gym. He was always a big guy. And a lot of my,
monster.
Yeah, a lot of my friends when I was younger, they used to be scared of him. I used to call him Jax from Mortal Kombat. And he was always in the gym. So, when you're young, you just see, your dad in the gym, and you see him pumping iron. And I just, I fell in love with it. Once, I went to the gym a couple of times, even when we used to go on the base rock, we used to lift a couple of times. I just found, I'm a hard worker. So anything for me to get better at, I'm going to work at. And that's what that was for me. If it wasn't basketball, it was lifting. Like it just helped me with, a lot of stress that I had, a lot of things that I was going through. It helped me with frustration. So I came up with this brand called Fezek Athletics, basically just apparel line at first. I just wanted, to get, shirts out there, sweats. Just started my own apparel line, and it just came out of nowhere pretty much, and I just wanted something that I can build and leave for my kids, for Elijah and Leilani. Like, so if they want to pursue their dream or whatever they want to do, they have something to rely on. They have a brand that they can go back and say, you know what, all right, I can run this, from my dad, because my dad built this empire. I just wanted to leave something for him, and I think as us as African Americans sometimes get away from, you know, trying to leave, like we, now it's the word legacy. It probably was like, last year or the year before that. It's like you want to leave something, for your kids that, they can fall back onto just like everybody else. So that's why I pretty much, started the brand. So, you know, yeah, after 2014, I started competing. In 2016, in a national show, not national, a natural show. Um, and I competed at about 3 years. And then into my third year, I actually turned pro. Um, that third year at NGA, and then
But that was what like after a couple shows, right? Like you
yeah, that was like about like
doing
4 or 5 shows. Yeah, it
Yeah.
took me about 3 years. It took me about 3 years to get my pro card. I mean, you have a lot of competitors, and the judges, looking for something new all the time, and it was a learning experience for me. So I just had to learn what they were looking for, and I had to prepare my body because I never lifted before. So I had to watch a lot of videos, do a lot of research, a lot of studying, especially with diet and stuff like that. And I learned a lot doing that, especially when you're prepping for a show and you have your high carb days and your low carb days where you have no carbs in your body and you're literally fueling on protein all day, and and fats, which is hard to do, especially when you never did it before, and you're not going 1 week, you're going like probably like a month. I think one time I went a whole month with no carbs,
I
literally a
remember
whole.
that.
Remember we did a whole
Yeah,
month with no
yeah.
carbs, and you could just see your body transform into something that you're just like, wow, like you know what I mean. You're just like your body. You see your body transforming. You're just like you see yourself accomplishing a lot of things when you put your mind to it, especially when you're at a low deficit, and it makes mentally it prepares you for anything. You know what I mean? Like people say, like, what is the toughest sport? Bodybuilding is tough. Like
Hmm.
I thought like basketball was tough because I play basketball. You guys play basketball,
Hmm.
but imagine trying to play a full game with like no carbs. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like your thought process, like
You be done after 5 minutes.
yeah, like you know what I mean? You gotta be able to think, you gotta be able to do plays. And bodybuilding, you on low carbs, you lifting weight, you doing your 9 to 5, you talking to people. I had a wife at the time, so like
Hmm.
I had to deal with that situation, like
Hmm.
and your attention span and your anger, what I mean, you get ticked off like that. And
Fuses
you gotta
quick. Yeah,
yeah, and you gotta be
yeah.
able to control all that. So after competing about 3 years, 3.5 years, I actually turned pro um, after like 3 years, and then I jumped into the pro card. And when you jump in the pro card, it's a whole nother division. So I hopped in that, and I actually placed top four. And yes, I was kind of upset with myself because you work so hard and you put so much into it, where the point where sometimes you don't get feedback. And it's tough when you put everything into it and they don't appreciate it. So um, I kind of took a year off and tried to decide if I was going to go NPC or not. So um, I ended up deciding to go NPC, and then we had this whole COVID thing. So that actually gave me more time to concentrate on physique because it was kind of hard to concentrate when you're doing bodybuilding and trying to
Hmm.
run your own business. So now me and my sister, she used to live in San Francisco, now live in Florida. She is the one that actually designed the logo for physique for me.
Shout out to
Um,
Sonya.
yeah, she is my creative partner
Hmm.
with the business.
Hmm.
Um, so she helps me with all my social media, pictures that you guys see on Instagram and Facebook, videos as well, and the website as well. So she's helps me on that part, on my social media part. And we're growing as a business now. The website is up. We have you see the supplements in the back. We have pre-workout,
Hmm.
um, pre-workout BCAAs, whey protein. Now we have vitamins, we have joints, um, muscle recovery, and sleep aid, which we call night night now. So that was
Repo
a
night
word.
night.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And I actually tried it, man. I took. It says for men it's 3 pills, women is 2,
Hmm.
and I took it, and I'm like, literally the next morning, like it took me a while to open my eyes. I'm like, open. I'm like, damn, I finally
But
got
did you
home. But
feel rested though? Like, did you
yo,
feel
I felt like
energized?
I felt like I had a week rest, man. Like, and you know how when you get older, it's hard when you get that sleep. Like, well, one little thing wakes you up.
Hmm.
And if you have, especially if you have issues sleeping, especially a long day of work, or just you just your mind is always running. Definitely trying to tell you, try it. It's on the website. It's called Night Night. Uh, it definitely worked. But we're a brand that's growing in the industry right now. Still learning, the ropes of the fitness industry and everything like that. We're trying to build a team soon with Physique that we're going to probably announce in a month or two. Just have to do some more research and everything like that. But we take pride in physique. We help with the community. I did my son's soccer team jerseys
Hmm.
1 year for free. I wanted to support them, let them know, and get the brand out there and everything like that. But if you go to www.physiqueathletics, have men and women apparel on there, and we get a lot of feedback from customers. What they like, what they didn't like, and we try to improve on that. For our next line and everything like that. So Fezek is one of the brands that's going to be out there competing with everybody else sooner or later, and when you guys see it, your kids see it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my bro, like, and when your kids get to high school or college, or whatever, they can, hey, let me know. I send them something free, and they can rock it out, and show the support, and get it out there, But
it almost made me feel bad. I ain't put on my physique stuff tonight. I feel,
I try to put I try to put as much as possible every time I head outside, go anywhere, either it's a hat or a t-shirt. I do have you guys shirts coming in. It's just with the whole COVID.
Oh yeah, everything's slow.
Delivery, everything is like slow because everything is like made out of one manufacturer. So it actually is out of Florida. So, but they only have a certain amount of people working. So it's like hectic right now.
FaceTime,
so,
we know, bro. We know.
Yeah. So when you guys, your shirts are coming in. So anytime you guys want something, just holler at me. I get it to you guys.
And then, also follow me at Fezek Frank on Instagram.
Yeah, Graham. Yep.
Facebook. All the social medias. All that'll be in the description below.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey man, we gonna support you, bro.
Appreciate it.
I mean, from like you said, in 2014 when you started it, you got us all out some stuff, and we was like, and it's quality stuff. Like that's one thing I want people to know. This ain't you just went to Walmart, grab a bunch of T-shirts, and went and had your logo pressed on it. This is some quality material. Like I said, I got hoodies. I got the cutoff hoodies I work out in. Like it's a real good brand, man. Real good.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a while. It took about 3 years to get it up, up and running, and I had people, DM me all the time, like, yo, Frank, how do you did this? I'm like, yo, like, it took took 3 years, man, to actually get this brand up and running, especially when you don't have the funds like that, that's the hard part, like, because a lot of these manufacturers want you to buy in bulk, and there's not no 50, 100, it's like, no, we want 1,000, like, all right.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I know
like,
that. Yeah, like wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Unless you're gonna buy shirts and then go get them printed, like that, that's totally different,
Yeah. But if you want the quality one,
you want that quality, and you got to find the right manufacturer, and you got to have that relationship with them. And I had a good partner when I first started, a guy out in Pakistan that I was, I met on social media, and we built a relationship, and he knew I was a small company starting out, and he worked with me, and I was like, all right, cool. And that's when I was able to start, pushing everything out, but now since I've grown, like now, like everything it's at a warehouse now where, when the order goes through, it's going in the system and it's getting pushed right out.
Everything's streamlined.
Yeah, everything's streamlined, because when I had to do it by myself, I had to do all the mailing, I had to do all the boxing, I had to take it to UPS. My receipts used to be like this.
I told you, bro, you need to get like a camera and just film all of that, like just to show people. Like starting a business from the ground up is tough.
Yeah, I had ShipStation. Greg, probably heard of ShipStation, right?
Yeah, or with like priority parcels with the UPS.
I had to type everybody's name in there, and like you get all the information from like PayPal, and if they don't update certain things on there, and then you mail it
bad
out.
addresses.
That coming back to you, like, yo, and then you got to deal with customers, and like, oh, I didn't get this. I'm like, well, what address do you have on PayPal? Oh, I had the old address. Well, how you expect to get something if you got some old address on there, You
was wearing all the hats. You was the president, the founder, the customer service rep, shipping manager.
And the thing is now, since we're growing, like the marketing part is getting out of, I'm not getting out of control. It's just getting too much for one person. So now we're about to probably hire 1 or 2 people.
Get some interns.
Yeah, we're going to hire about 1 or 2 people to help with the marketing part, because it's a lot of data that's coming in from Facebook, the internet, the website, Instagram, Twitter. It's just a lot of data that's coming in that we got to house and translate as well for sales and stuff like that. So, and my sister's a big help to that. She knows a lot about the computer part, which is helpful for me, you know, especially with the, you know, the graphic design and everything like that. That's not me. I'm the horse. You know what I mean? I carry everything. I'm the feet of the of the brand. You know. So
it takes a team, bro. We know.
Yeah, it definitely takes a team. Cause trying to do it by myself, man, it was hard. Because at a point, she wasn't there for a while because she was working, she was doing her own thing, and I had to do everything. You know, it was up 12, 1 o'clock, and especially doing bodybuilding at the same time. Like it was a lot, man. And a lot of these guys in the industry, in the fitness industry, and you know, bodybuilding, men's physique, whatever, that push their own brand, like you got to give it up to them because they have multiple hats and they pushing it all the time, you know. And it's tough to do that, especially working a 9 to 5, bodybuilding, pushing your own brand. It's tough, man.
Prepping for shows and doing all this other a lot, bro.
So,
a lot.
You know, our main goal is to actually, you know, get into these big shows and have, you know, our product out there compete with everybody else's.
Yeah. So shout out to Fezek, man. I mean, you know, I know I want some of them dry fit shirts and stuff like that because I can't do regular shirts no more, man.
Yeah, I can't. My son the other day, he said, "Yo, Dad, why you wear everything baggy?" I'm like, "Look, when you in the gym and you lift and you want nothing tight on your body because you got to be able to breathe and take off."
That joint get sweaty and man, that joint.
You try to take your shirt off, but you get cramp if it's too tight.
So. All right. Well, hey man, you know, like I say, man, we proud of you, bro. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast and you know, and you know, like I say, we're always gonna be here to support you. Anything we need, man. Anything you need, man. We got you. All right, man. We got you know, late but here to the party. You know,
Pop Casano.
Yeah, the Colombian
Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar. And Medellin.
Erik Castano, he's been absent for a few weeks handling some business. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, man, what's going on now?
He come on all mellow, huh?
Late
night.
Yeah. Why does it sound like he talking under a pillow?
He's hilarious.
He eating like what is he eating? Chicken meat
crabs.
and like
what is that? Chicken feet? You eat some chicken feet?
Chicken wing, man.
Chicken wings?
Chicken wing Saturday. You know what's on TV?
Oh, MMA John, right?
You know it.
Well, put that on pause.
Yeah,
so we can get through this.
That's gonna be a good fight too.
He sound like he on like an old ass CB4 radio. Like
I know,
he's trying to talk to some trucker across the country.
Check your audio. What you got? Do you got your headphones in?
No, turn his Bluetooth off. Take your Bluetooth off. Unless you talk through your headphones.
He talking through his headphones, I think.
Yeah, the Bluetooth messes it up. Yeah, but he's using it, so it's fine.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna talk about what everybody's been kind of commenting on.
That or Will Smith, John. So no.
Hey man.
Ooh, I ain't watching though.
Look, bro.
I ain't watching yet.
Look, bro.
I'm not watching it though.
Look,
I'm not
bro.
watching it.
August Alsina, bro. Like,
I mean, it's Jada at the end of the day. Like
that's not I mean, I get it. You don't want to put your business, you know, like if
but that's
what you
Jada. Like she used to be cool with Pop, like, and like that relationship was crazy.
Now hold on. Now that's something somebody asked me, and I was like, I don't know. I know we get on topic, but do you think Jada messed with Pop?
I mean, they were like best friends. I mean, I don't know. They probably did. They just had a special relationship.
He said, "Come on."
I don't know.
You're asking somebody that wasn't even around back then, Frank. You got to talk to somebody that's been there.
What you mean, been there?
Frank, you wasn't around back then. You were still a young boy.
Yes, I was.
Frank, you were a young boy, though. You were a young boy, Frank. You were a young boy.
He's saying you was like 8, 9 years old. Like you was young.
No, I was not. I was not.
You was a young boy, Frank.
No, because
you were a young boy. You were Jerry. You was Jerry, Frank. You was Jerry.
All right, don't put that name out there. Don't put that name out there. Don't do that. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess They're probably, hold on. Don't put that out there. But to get back on topic. Back on topic. I think they probably did, and it didn't work, but so they just became friends.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you think they was like brothers and sisters, not like...
No. I don't think they were brothers and sisters. But I'm saying like they tried
so
it.
Then they was missing
I ain't gonna say try it, but I guess
they was missing
they tried to date, but it didn't like their friendship was too friendly.
Yeah.
They were just like, look, just be friends because this relationship, because they was both the same, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I always heard stories how Jada was just, she was just Jada. Look at me.
Yeah.
She was, I mean,
and they had open relationship anyway. So
I'm about to say, yeah, like, I mean, but the thing was, and I get what Will's point of view is, like, yo, like, keep that in check. Like, you don't see minds coming out saying...
Well, not even that. You don't go on national TV and talk about it.
He emo, bro. He hurt. Jada put that thing on him, man. That boy missing that.
Who, Will?
No, August.
Oh.
That's why he went
I
on
didn't
social
see that,
media.
John. I didn't see that, John.
Man,
Like, he should have went on social media and said all that. He should have.
He made a whole album about her. Like, come on, bro.
He should have just left it as that.
Hey, man. He hurt, man. She didn't put that thing on him, man. They told him get out
Jason
of here.
Lyrics. That Jason Lyrics.
Yo, that's my favorite movie, bro.
That Jason Lyrics, boy. She put that Jason Lyrics on.
Bro, every time that come on, bro, I'm watching it.
Yeah, that Jason Lyrics she put on that boy. But I don't know, man.
Greg, anyway, you got something you want to add, Greg, to that?
No, man.
It's Hollywood.
It's silliness, man. Like, whatever they do is whatever they do. If they had an open relationship, they had an open relationship. I don't. It ain't none of my business. I don't worry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it don't.
Whatever works for them. I mean, if it works for them,
whatever makes them happy, that's what it makes to help them work. And we're saying at the end of the day, then it's none of our business on it. Like,
real quick, would you have an open relationship? Any of y'all open to an open relationship?
Open relationship?
Open marriage.
Yo,
not open marriage. Open relationship? Yeah.
But that's different. I mean, of course, open relationship. Like, you ain't know. I'm talking about marriage. Like, Will and her is married, so we open marriage.
I see this. See, that's how.
No, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. I don't know about y'all.
Not an open marriage. Like, yeah, because being in that situation, like, I don't know. When you're single, it's different.
Of course.
When you're married, and you're like, all right.
You got some real true feelings behind it. Like, you committing to that person. So,
I don't know what they got going on.
She go out there and get something she might like a little better, bro. Like, I don't know. Start feeling some type of way.
I don't know.
That young boy was putting it on him.
And how you get away? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. How you get away? You famous. I don't understand how you get away with that.
What do you mean?
You got cameras on you 24/7.
Oh, not in your house like that. Nah.
I mean, all right. I guess he's coming on a private jet, private airline.
Frank, if they friends, quote unquote friends, and he's coming to hang out. That's how it's.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
That's how they explained it. Like, so it's easy.
Hold on. Talk about so he went on like vacation with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was living in the crib.
So he didn't go. Hold up, where Jada at? She been away for like.
No, because he was away. He was doing this thing. Like,
because he was friends with the kids, right? With
Jaden and them.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was friends. I think they know.
I thought I read something that they introduced him to her. That's what I thought.
Yeah, because I'm saying I know Jaden. Yeah, because Jaden, I heard Jaden was like on tour. That's how they became cool, and then he invited them on a vacation or something like that, and then that's how the relationship built from there.
We giving this gossip way too much energy, man.
I mean, but they say, because like, I've heard the, clips of the John. Like, she was saying like how when he came, he was like physically sick. So she was like, they was helping him get his physical health up.
They became a healer.
And she said that's what she likes to do. She likes to help people heal.
Yeah, that's when you had the red table, whatever. You do it then.
But
anyway, that's a whole other topic. We can talk about that later.
But she never said they did anything. She said entangled.
Whatever.
Look, man, that's a personal situation, man. Just let it.
Yeah,
just let it breathe.
I mean, we had to have a little fun topic, dog. We had to get some little,
that's
trending topics out. But anyway,
let's get to this.
D-Jack, Deshaun Jackson, Greg.
I'll
Philadelphia Eagle player now, bro.
That's your boy, Greg. Go ahead and start it off, Greg. That's your boy.
Yeah.
That's your boy, Greg. Go ahead and start it off, Greg. Go ahead. That's your boy. That's Eagles. That's Eagles territory.
Look, you got the Eagle little green wristband on. Ain't that your season pass band on right there?
No, that's true. Let him go last.
I'll go last. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead, man. I know you bought this.
No, don't. I go in the middle.
Huh?
I go in the middle. Go ahead.
Well, all right. E, you want to go ahead? E, start off. E.
I mean, look. Evidently, he didn't know what he was talking about. The comments that were made obviously were spoken out of ignorance. I think Julian Edelman is doing the right thing by educating him and other Jewish athletes. I think somebody named Schwartz, I can't remember what team he plays for, I think came out and said that they were going to show him or walk him around the Holocaust Museum or something like that. But I think it's all right. I'll put it to you this way: if a white person says something about a black man in America right now, right?
Riley Cooper.
Says something. If anybody says anything about a black man right now in the state that we're in, they're gonna crucify him. Fair to say? It's a question.
They're gonna crucify him.
They're gonna crucify him, right?
Of course.
This is a question I'm asking the panel, right? They're gonna crucify him. So what if a black man says something in regards to a white guy? What is the consequences going to be here? Is it going to be looked at, all right, well, he didn't say it out of context. Does Steven Jackson step up and defend him and say, well, he said it, but I agree with him, but it's okay? Or does he get suspended? Does he get crucified? Does he get put out of the league? Like, what are the consequences going forward for the black athlete when they say something about a white person? Or what is the consequences going to be when a brown person says something about a white person? Is there going to be a double standard for the? Is there going to be a certain type of punishment for the same? We understand now, mind you. I'm not saying that one thing doesn't have to do with the other, because, mind you, the oppressions and all these things that have happened for the black athlete, or the black race and the brown race have happened for such a long time. I understand that. That doesn't take away from the whole substance of the conversation. But regardless, you can't sit here and talk about a certain race and expect certain consequences not to happen, because white folk are going to sit here and say, well, what about that? How's that going to happen? You're gonna talk about us, but what about this? So is there going to be a consequence for certain things to happen? And this is a perfect conversation for this to be brought up in, because I have a neighbor next door. Okay, I'll give you an example. I have a neighbor next door, white guy, and he is, I would have to say, by lack of a better words, he has a Confederate flag next door. He has a whole bunch of guns next door.
He's a supremacist. He's a white supremacist.
I would have to.
You have white and you have white supremacy. So those are the two.
I'd have to say that by any state of law, that's probably where he's at. Then right next to me on the other side, I got a black guy who has all his black buddies that come over every other Saturday. They play cornhole in front of my house, and they take up the whole entire street, and they play music all times of the night until 11, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, the question here is, if the white guy did the same thing that the black guy was doing, would there be the same? Would there be the Cosby called on the white guy versus the black guy? That would be the question. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same scenario here. Is the same thing going to happen to Deshaun Jackson for saying something about a white guy versus a black guy saying about versus a white guy saying about a black guy
Yeah,
or
but
a brown person.
this shouldn't be the suspension. I mean, all right. I mean,
I don't know. That's my point.
Anything that the things that he said is the truth. So it wasn't nothing that he lied about in that statement.
Right.
Well, okay. I think the part that people got stuck on
was the Hitler part.
Was the Hitler part. Like,
right,
anytime you add Hitler into something,
right,
that's going to touch the Jewish
And they
people.
took it out of context because it's just like when you talk about white people and you talk about white supremacy, they're two different people. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about Jews, there's two different types of Jews that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And the Jews never let the original people back to the promised land, which is Israel. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when you have the knowledge of that, like Deshaun Jackson, you know what I mean? That's what he was referring to, and that's what he was talking about. You have the Jews that are just like, you know, your regular Jews, and people that heard his statement and were like, "Oh, you talking about me?" No, he's not talking about them. He's talking about those terms where Minister Louis Farrakhan referred them to as satanic.
Yeah.
Satanic
okay,
Jews.
My question.
Those Jews are those Jews are the Jews that's been eating at America at the world for so long. For so long, they're eating at the world. Everybody feels so sorry for them. They get reparations. They got Hollywood. They got so many things fed to them. And you even see it in Hollywood now, where you have a lot of, you know, homosexual stuff like that, where African Americans are going through that trend and everything like that. It's because of them. That's their agenda. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's their agenda to push that and on our African American race. And what he was referring to was that the Jews, just like we say, those 1%ers, those Jews, or those satanic Jews, or those 1%ers, they have a certain agenda, and they knew what they were doing, you know, and the purpose of going back in the day where you have the original Jew were black or dark-skinned, and they wasn't even allowed to go back to Israel. They kept them away to Israel, and they were from Yemen and Somalia. That's where the original Jews came from. They took their whole religion, culture, and they ran away with it and kept them isolated. They isolate them. They don't even let them allow back in Israel. I'll send you the link on YouTube where they have this village of I think they're Ethiopian Jews where they're not even welcome into Israel because of the color of their skin. So this whole race thing it's global, you know, and that's what he was really, really talking about. And when I was hearing Max talk about it, I'm like, yo, he's not talking about a regular Jew. He's not talking about Edelman. He's not talking about Max Keller. Like, he's not talking about you guys. He's talking about those other Jews, you know, those 1%, those satanic Jews that's out there have an agenda and they know what they're doing. And America's, you know, people don't realize Israel gets $80 billion a year, tax-free money. Right off the cut.
See, I think we know what he was talking about, but in the context of his text, because he didn't say this, it was on a Twitter message that he did. So what they couldn't read into that, they couldn't take the context of what he was trying to say. So once they seen Hitler and then Jews and then they blackmailed, they just grouped it all in one race. Which is what, like he said, with black people, if a white person said that about, he could be talking about a particular black person, but if he just says black people or whatever, we're going to just group that as, oh, he's talking about
but
us.
This is 400 years. It's totally different compared to, we didn't get nothing. To this day. They got everything. They got Hollywood. They get reparations. They get $80 billion a year.
Go ahead, Greg. Let me hear what you got to say.
All right. Like the statement that he put out wasn't Hitler never said that. Okay, like so it wasn't. It's being attributed to somebody that never said it. You gotta remember when Jesse Owens ran in the Olympics in Germany, like when he was kicking everybody's butt, he got up and walked out. You know what I mean? Because he was disgusted because the white man was winning. So he was not a fan of anybody other than blonde hair, blue eyed. So this quote, I haven't been able to find what book it's been attributed to, and I think for me, before people give its credence, we got to find out what book it is, what's the information behind it. Is it a verified source? Like, you know what I mean? We know that there are people of Jewish religion from every ethnicity, and from Ethiopia and that eastern part of Horn of Africa and up and all. So that's not to be debated right now. But what I'm kind of like is, you learn about it in school. Anything that has Hitler in it, you really, it's not something you. I don't care what conversation. Like, that's like Frank Rock. If somebody came to you talking about Grand Wizard of the KKK's policy on this, or he thinks this, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So once that dude's name's attributed to it, it's mush. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's one for me. The other thing for me is, and I think as a society as a whole, like, and especially in political realms, but also when it comes to ethnicities, we are becoming way too extreme. So to me, I like to garner information from everywhere, but I like to peel the onion, because the way I could equate it for everybody is, if you listening to a vegan about the plurals of not the plurals, the benefits of eating meat, you're not going to hear it because they don't like it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tell you that animal products is bad because they don't like it. So you gotta peel away and be neutral when you hear stuff, and not go to one side or the other. You know what I mean? You got to be a centered individual, and I'm not saying none of you are, but I'm just saying society in general. And a lot of people are just listening to what they want to hear and what makes them feel good, and then they go off and do something or say something. Now, if me, you, Frank, or Rock, or E go out and post something, it's not going to have the same backlash as somebody that has like one. What's he have? Like
celebrity. Somebody with celebrity
Instagram,
status.
what's names? And what happens is, instead of guys doing their homework, and he like, I think the part that everybody was defending, because I'm going over the place right now. I think the part that, like, Steven Jackson and a couple other people said that they were trying to defend was the part where he said that he wanted the black community to keep the money inside their neighborhoods and try to keep the money in what's the name. But he could have said that without the other quote. Nobody would say that. Nobody would say anything.
He was using them as an example because they keep theirs in their community. It's just like the Asians.
But that leads me to my other point. We shouldn't have to put down other ethnicities to build our ethnicity.
We gotta bring them to light, just the same way we bringing this white supremacies to light. We gotta bring that to light too, and that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to bring that to light to America, to let them know, like, you guys are speed feeding the Jews and giving them too much, where they're taking advantage of it, and people are not seeing it. When you see it,
hold on.
When you
this
see
is
it,
almost stop you. I just want to stop you. Like, if somebody says, like, "Hey, Frank, you ain't like those other, you know what? You're a good black person." What are you going to say? You going to take offense to that?
He said, someone say, "Yeah, we don't like, you ain't like them other, Negro niggas."
But that's what he's saying. That's what Farrakhan's saying. Where you're just trying to separate. It's the same thing. It's a reverse mirror, my man. It's a reverse mirror. And they could be doing wrong. What you say is, hold on. What you say is, yo, there's some shady business practice going on. There should be legislations that stop that. It's been, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't single out another religion, ethnicity to though you might have good intentions, it's extremist. It's the same thing that got Trump elected. It's the same thing that Hitler ran on. There's no difference to it, no matter whose ethnicity is saying it. And they can have the greatest intentions, but it leads everybody down a dark path. I don't care what you're trying to get. Your end goal might be like the greatest thing ever, but you're gonna stray off, because that's what usually happens when you go to extreme. Like, all I've heard from that to what's saying is divisiveness. And what we should be doing is looking at how they got reparations. They got their money from everything that happened in the Holocaust, which was a shorter period of time than slavery. They got their money. Like literally, the funny thing is, the Nazis used America's laws. They studied America's laws, how they subjugated blacks, to do that to the Jews, and they got theirs. We didn't get ours. So we're not doing something right.
Because
so
America,
we should be using them as allies and trying to get to that level.
but we can't, because Israel is a place where they need to separate. What is it? Was it Iran or Afghanistan? Is it Afghanistan? Was it one of those two countries? So that's why they protect them so much, and because of the oil there. So that's what keeps them separated.
That's it right there. The oil. If America is a resource that we need,
and that's why they keep that place as the holy ground. That's why they refer to it as the holy ground, because that's what keeping the power into the United States hands. Because Russia's right there, Saudi Arabia is there, Afghanistan, they're right there. So for us having a base there and protecting them, that's giving us a edge over the other power countries. You know, and I think when people are getting behind it is because he was backing up Minister Louis Farrakhan, and people are upset with that, and they think he's a hatred to certain groups. No, everything that he says is the truth. There's nothing about hate. He never said anything about I hate these people, I hate that people. He brings to light of what these other race has been doing for years, and he points it out. You know, it's no difference between pointing out a white supremacist and a white, what they're doing right now. You know, I don't see nobody going to say, oh, he's a good black person. That's not a good black person. I don't hear people saying that. Not with our race. Not with our race. Like that question you asked me earlier. I don't hear that with our race.
I was saying,
no, he's saying if another race said that, like, hey,
yeah,
like,
because you said earlier
different.
There's two different types, and I said if somebody said that to you, how would you take that?
Two different types of black people. If another person from another race said that to you, like, you're a different type of black person.
But other race they just don't like black, period. I don't hear people, I don't see them saying, oh, he's a good black. They look at us all the same. But us as African Americans, African Americans look at everybody else. We look at everybody else because we look at whites, and then we got white supremacists, we got Jews, and we got satanic Jews, and people that know about that. You know what I mean? We don't say, you know, he's a good Spanish person to another Spanish person. No, I mean, I don't see the difference. I don't hear that come.
I've yet to experience somebody like split me in my ethnicity down the middle and go like, well, you're good. No, I'm just like, you should be looking at the person as the person. Now, am I saying that there's people that aren't doing shady stuff? No, I don't know. I'm not in that realm. I'm not in that realm of hierarchy of what's the name to know the business practice and all that.
Yeah.
So I can never say that. But the one thing I would say is like for us to try to, as a people, to try to pull down or make an adversary of somebody that should be our ally, like that's. For what we want to get accomplished in this country, we need allies. Can we all agree on that? So, like, why make an unnecessary fight over something? If they got it, let me say this: if they're not
going to give us anything, Greg. They know how powerful we are. They're not giving us nothing.
But you don't. But what I'm saying is this: if you make an ally and you get the stuff that you want, and put it like this, are we ever going to get like? Do I think we ever going to get reparations to the point of like
we won't see it in our lifetime?
But no. But could something happen where there's a fund for kids to go to school or like stuff like that? Like, well, I'm talking about like a trust to make sure like something like that. Cool. Like I'd be happy with just something going forward that like future generations are taken care of or what have you. But what I'm saying mostly is like we got to be really careful about like our how we interact with just everybody, as far as like because it could go for what we want to do. We shouldn't be making enemies. We should be making allies. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, hold on, Frank. I mean, my thing is this: he's just saying what he knows of, right? Like he's having a conversation. Like, granted, when you start having a conversation, sometimes you're going to make people upset. That's when you come together, like you say, Julian Edelman or whoever.
That was nonsense, though.
But the point is that you want to sit there and you want to have a conversation. All right, Deshaun, where are you coming from? Why are you saying this about our particular race? You know what I'm saying? Well, this is what I'm saying. I know that and I'm not saying all Jews, which he said in his apology. He's like, I'm not saying all Jews. And he shouldn't even
apologize either.
He's just talking about a certain, like what Frank said, that 1%. Like, you got 1% bad in all ethnicities. Black, white. I mean, you got it all. Yeah. So he's just, and yes, Louis Farrakhan, he had his speech on July 4th. I thought it was motivating. Like, I genuinely liked it. Like, I wasn't taking from like he's hating. He even said, he was like, I love Jews. He was like, I loved it. He wasn't like, oh, I hate them. Like, like he was just speaking from what he knows of, what he believes in. I mean, the main thing is, we had said earlier, should he be suspended? I don't think so.
No, I don't think he should be suspended. I think they're taking the right approach and they're educating him.
Yeah, I think that's
like if you.
But what they gotta educate? What they educating him on? Like, he don't know. Like, they teach that in school.
If he don't know not to attribute a quote from Hitler in 2020, come on, Frank.
I don't think. No,
that's as bad. That's as bad as somebody carrying around a Confederate flag in 2020, bro.
Yeah, but it's more. It's more than that. It's more. I think it's more towards Minister Louis Farrakhan, because they don't want black athletes to get behind that. They don't want that. Mm-hmm. And they brought his name up even in on ESPN. That was the first time I ever heard it.
You know what I mean? Deshaun brought it up. Deshaun brought it up and said, I had watched
the Farrakhan speech.
Right, yeah, no, I'm not talking about him.
I just wanted to uplift my people. That's what
right.
He said.
And when they heard that, they were like, no, we can't let Minister Larry Farrakhan get a movement behind him and get best athletes behind him, because you see what happened when Muhammad Ali got behind him.
But think about it. You don't think this ain't the first? You think this is the first athlete that's like listened to him or like what's the name? And
there's not too many of them. There's not too many of them.
Well, I mean,
you can listen to it. Put it like this: you can listen to him, and if you put it in proper context, peel the information.
But this is the perfect time.
You don't have to. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
It was just like Gray said, the context is the context of how he worded.
Like, and it's the context. Like, somebody can hear the information and just go, "Hey, I'm gonna use that, but in my own way." Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know if somebody's listening to him. They might be taking what he says. Like he had I saw an interview of him from
Louis Farrakhan.
Farrakhan, he was on. I forget what show he was on. I want to say it was Donahue and Donahue was back in the '90s. But
you talking about Don Lemon? You talking about Don Lemon? He was on Don Lemon show.
No. Donahue, Phil Donahue,
80s.
It was in the '90s.
Yeah, but I said this was the '80s.
That was the guy with the blonde hair.
This was before high definition.
Like that, with the glasses, but
with the blonde hair. Yeah.
But the point being was, what he was saying was, 90, I want to say like 95% of it was like, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, true. But like,
it's the tone.
Me, it's not the tone. For me, I process information and I take it and process it for me. Like, I'll go and look it up. I'll go and what's the name? Mm-hmm. The problem is a majority of people don't do it, and they don't think for themselves. They just hear speech. He could be telling you the truth, but even he would tell you he has some part of his opinion in it. That's anybody that's speaking to you. Mm-hmm. Anybody speaking to you is going to give you their opinion, and as much as they want to be neutral, their opinion, you'll know which way the river flows on the subject. So it's up to. The only thing I'm saying is up to us to be responsible and to make sure that like we're not disseminating information that is the best way I can say is divisive and or unfactual as far as like giving. I seen that quote that he posted. I seen it about a month ago, and I was just like, "There's no way he said it." And then I see a whole bunch of people. I'm looking at the comments. Nah, he didn't say this. What book is this from? Nobody could find the book. So somebody just came up with a quote, and then
he just
puts it out there. But like that's the point to me where all he had to do was say, "Hey guys, let's try to keep our money in our communities to help better our community." And that statement would have went further than the backlash that he's getting now. He wouldn't be in half the trouble. He could have still gave that speech. I think
taking out the Hitler part, which is what now gave the Jewish people the like, hold up, why are you talking about it? Because you had Hitler in with them, and we know what Hitler was doing, and that. I think that part is what people was stuck on. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, rightfully, I wouldn't put Hitler in the comment. But the other parts that Deshaun said, I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't agree with him. I agree. Take out the Hitler part, and then we can have a conversation with the rest of the part. All right, Deshaun, why do you say this? Why do you say that? Like, I can do that.
When you know when you have the knowledge and you do your research, like Greg said, about a race, and you know where they came from, just like I guess you want to classify them as, I guess, white or white. We'll just say white. So I'm not going to separate the two because you can't. I mean, not going to really separate the two in this situation.
Hebrews. Huh? You call them Hebrews.
No. I'm talking about like whites. Like people don't do their research on the Jews and realize like where they came from, how they came about. Most of the people, if you ask people about Jews, all they know is pretty much just the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. That they got genocide for 12 years or how many years it was? I forget how many years it was. And they had a horrible time, and they know that. They don't know nothing about the 400 years of slavery and none of that, because they don't even teach it in school anymore.
Did they ever?
You know what I mean? Like we had it for like a little bit, but at the same time, it's like,
you talking about slavery in school? Yeah, they still teach about it.
And they gloss over it in February.
They gloss over it. They don't spend a whole semester like they do on Holocaust. I ain't gonna tell you, nobody's gonna get a doctorate.
Yeah,
it's not like they spend a whole semester like they do on Holocaust.
They do it 1 month out of the year.
Yeah, we spent like a whole half of the semester learning about the Holocaust. Like, I remember that in school, but I'm just saying, like, by him making that statement and understanding where he was coming from, I understood the whole comment from beginning to end. And me personally didn't feel it was offensive or anything like that. He was speaking the truth. And for Edelman to come in there to say, "Oh, let's educate each other on it," people do not like the truth. And when it came out, that's why everybody's jumping on it, because when the truth comes out, it's like, no, it's a big whole thing. They don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? They're ashamed of it. Just like when you talk about slavery and everybody's tearing down their statues, now people are getting ashamed of it, right? And they're tearing down the statues and everything like that. Because they don't want to feel like, when you talked about the last show, Greg, people don't want to affiliate themselves with that, right? So that's why they're taking it down. But now when Deshaun come up with this statement, it's like, now the Jews are like, no, like, we got to put a stop to this, because we really don't want them to figure out what we're doing.
That negativity.
That negative what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that whole Hollywood stuff, man, those Jews knew what they were doing with that, man. They knew exactly what they do. Like, it's hard. Even for me now, I can't even get into the shows because I'm not a homophobe or anything like that. It's just,
it's like that's what's all they gotta have. They
out
have
there,
to
and
promote,
like,
promote it, but they have to show that.
Yeah, and it's a psychological thing, behind the whole thing, man. Like, if you really don't know exactly, like, what's going on out there with that, I advise you to go listen to Minister Louis Farrakhan to get that knowledge on it, because there's a lot of stuff out there that they're trying to do psychologically, watching TV over and over and over again. Like, that plays a lot into the human DNA. You seeing it nonstop, and then you have kids and you're like, oh, how my kid is this? You know what I mean? So it's a lot deeper than what it is, and it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, Deshaun could say this, but it's hard for him to go into detail and not exploit so much without getting in trouble. I think.
Yeah, we'll end it on that because we can go for 3 hours on this one, man. This one is. It was a lot to unpack and all that. But let's real quick before we close out. The $500 million man, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. What's that? The largest.
That's the largest contract for American
in North
athletes.
America, North America, right? Like an American athlete, right? I mean, I know it's not the largest contract of soccer players get crazy money.
We ain't touch soccer yet.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But I mean, the question is like we say he deserves, but do you think the Chiefs got a deal on that? Do you think that?
Oh yeah.
How much you think he really is worth?
He just got to back it up.
You don't think he will?
I'll say this, right?
How
they got it? You know how they get a deal on this? Because the TV money's going to pour in. So you got TV, gambling, like all those TV rights and everything going to kick up some more, a couple billions. So then his contract's going to look like a pittance. It's going to look like they got the coupon clipped in about like 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, and he must watch TV too. So it's not like he not know. You know what I mean?
So
like
his game's gonna be national televised every weekend. Now.
He ain't no Tom Brady just sitting in there like, nah, like this boy's excited, and that's
this
one
boy
reason
no look passes and shit. That's crazy. Like, what you think? What you think? You think he got You think he should have got more? You think what? What are you thinking about the contract?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the most obvious thing. He's the first black athlete to reach the $500 million mark. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one contract.
He's the first North American.
Yeah, he's biracial.
Yeah, but we recognize him as black, frankly.
But he's recognized as black.
Right.
So let's
like Obama. Obama's biracial.
The most obvious thing.
Yeah,
he's biracial.
Right. So
that black when he got that
right there that's something that should be recognized as something that is something that should be recognized, considering where we are in America right now. Number one. Number two, do I think that he got a deal on it? I think it works out for both parties. I think Patrick Mahomes saw an opportunity there. I think the Kansas City Chiefs saw an opportunity in Patrick Mahomes. You don't get the type of quality quarterback right now that you have in Patrick Mahomes in the league. There's not really too many quarterbacks that I can sit here and compare to Patrick Mahomes, comparing him to what he does. He has a great arm. He does a lot of stuff that a lot of these quarterbacks don't do, and he's young. And he still has a lot of miles left in the tank. Now, that being said, Kansas City Chiefs are definitely a team that is on the rise. They definitely have a lot of stuff, and they're stacked with talent, and they're going to continue to be a force to be reckoned with going to the playoffs. They're a playoff team for the next couple of seasons, regardless. I don't see anybody else in that league or in their division that's going to say, okay, they're not going to be in the playoffs every year. For the foreseeable
future. Get that defense together.
You know,
the defense was like 10th.
The defense is pretty decent. Yeah,
the
defense is not. I mean, the team overall is well rounded.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that both, I feel like both parties got what they wanted, and I think Andy Reid. I think that's really what made it kind of like gel everything. Andy Reid is a very likable coach, and people like playing for Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that talks about Andy Reid and plays for Andy Reid, they all say the same thing. He's really a likable coach. Mm-hmm. People like playing for him. They like to see him.
West Coast.
He gave Michael Vick a second chance. You see what he did with that? Like I like Andy Reid.
He's the good guy. Like he's the good guy. He's the good guy, and people want to see him be victorious. And so when he got the chip last year, you know, it was like, yo, he was well deserving of that. So I feel like he's like the next Belichick coming up. You know what I'm saying? So him and I could definitely see the new combination of the Brady Belichick with Reed and Mahomes. Like I could see this turning into that if they mesh well together and they have a good team around them.
Dynasty.
And hopefully, you know, you can see something on the AFC side of things. I'm not talking about the NFC because
AFC's tough though.
But the AFC is definitely a team, a conference that has a very stacked bunch of teams that are right now that are definitely going to be coming out and they're going to be jostling for position. But, you know, you still got to go to the NFC. And there's a lot of teams that are in the NFC that are going to be jostling for position as well.
Is the Ravens in AFC?
Yeah, the Ravens AFC.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
If they would have met
the AFC, you know, and kudos to the Kansas City Chiefs. They did a good job.
Check your audio. You muffling, bro. You muffling, yeah.
He on CB, said CB radio. 10-4 over and out.
But I mean, with this though, like, all right, so who's next? Like, so now he's getting this, and now you have the bar, right? You have the bar.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
I do not like watching him play. I do not like watching him play.
I mean,
you talking about Lamar or Deshaun Watson? One of them gonna get paid.
I like Deshaun. I like
Deshaun too.
Lamar Jackson or Deshaun, guys.
Like
the
NFL
Deshaun.
is about next year.
Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson is definitely I mean, one of those
I don't like
two,
Lamar though.
or Dak
I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like Lamar. I don't like the style of play.
I mean, he can. We know he's a running quarterback.
Dak Prescott is another one.
He can play,
You gotta
man.
pick Dak.
Like,
who can play? Lamar and Dak.
Like Lamar's issue is one of those things where he's so young.
Mm-hmm.
He's younger than some of the rookies that came in. He's like 23.
Mm-hmm.
But the kid's
get
talented,
hit,
man.
He gonna get hit. Vic learned the same way.
Look, I mean, if he get hit, he get hit. But I mean,
he can ball.
like,
He can ball.
He can play.
He can play. Like, you got to remember, like who was it? Bill Pony and told him to switch to wide receiver. Like, the dude's second year in the NFL, he's an MVP of the league.
They tell all black quarterbacks to switch to wide receiver. Like he can't. Oh, you're not intelligent enough.
But we all witness running quarterbacks. Like, you know, they start off good, and then they hit a wall, and it's like now you gotta be a quarterback.
Hits.
Right.
Now you read studies. That's what
separates.
It's not the one big hit. Like the one big hit messed up RG3. Most other quarterbacks, like, it's the cumulative hits of always getting hit and then next
what messed up RG3 is he should have never been in playing that playoff game.
But that's what
I'm talking about
what messed up RG3, he should have never been arrested.
I'm talking about when he got his knee hurt by Haloti Ngata in the first place.
Oh yeah,
because had he slid or went down, his knee would have never got wrecked in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, so.
But that's what I'm saying with running quarterback. Like, that's what separates Patrick Mahomes, because
he's more of a. He worried about it. He trying to throw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's trying to run, but he can run though. Like, he can run too. You know what I mean? But like,
trying to throw.
Yeah, like he's trying to throw that ball, and then like with Lamar, like it's like
his first thing is to run. Like, I don't see that. I'm running.
It's a HB draw. It's a hole, so the draw everybody in.
The read.
You know what I mean? And then you know he's running. You know what I mean?
But hold on, let me just say this though. So with Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball because his arm is crazy, but like Lamar is that to running, man. Like, the kid is just he's light.
Look at Cam.
He's lightning.
Yeah, but Cam not as fast, and like Cam is big.
Cam was just a big dude.
Yeah,
I'm
fucking like
Lamar's faster. No, Lamar's faster. Lamar's faster.
Lamar's way faster.
It's faster.
And
but
way
when
shifty.
Cam was running, Bulls was like, "Yo, hold up, this ball."
Cam was running him over. Like, he won't juking like he blew. Like, Lamar is juking him.
Yeah,
who's the dude that's in
stop is crazy. Like,
who's the dude that's in the Arizona Cardinals that just got drafted.
Oh,
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. That dude. That. Now
Too
that's
short
the-
though.
Yeah, he's short. Like,
Short,
and
though.
I still don't think he's as fast
He's
as
gonna be
Lamar.
something.
Lamar is a little bit
Okay.
more athletic than him.
Lamar's a different
we'll have this
animal,
conversation
man.
at
He's
the
a
end of the
different
season.
dude, man.
We'll
He
have
gonna
this
put-
conversation
he gonna-
at the end of the season.
He'll put numbers up. He gonna put numbers up. But I
Oh,
just
shit,
like
he got what, Hopkins now?
yeah.
And the dude that
Oh,
got
Kyler
and the
Murray.
dude that and the dude that
Don't remind me, Rock. Don't remind me.
Woo!
He gonna be tough. But like Patrick
Arizona
Mahomes,
gonna be
like
all right.
but
Arizona
Patrick
gonna be all
Mahomes,
right.
The
Patrick
NFC East, the
What?
NFC
Did you
period
just say
is
Arizona's
gonna
gonna be
be a
all
whole
right?
Arizona's gonna be all
Arizona's
right.
gonna be.
no, they lost their
Arizona?
running back. They lost their running back.
Who?
So what?
All right.
The
You know
Arizona
what?
Cardinals are gonna be.
Let me tell you
beasts.
something.
Hold on.
They lost their
I
running
don't
back.
take football opinions from teams who they don't
They
have
lost
names
their
now.
they
All
lost
right?
their number one running back.
So
They lost their number one running back.
I'm not listening to your football opinion till your team actually gets a new name.
Hey
All right?
man,
We should have talked about that.
We gonna be called the Washington Eagle Killers. That's what we gonna be called. Y'all
Look, I don't care as long as y'all stop using a slur as your team name.
I mean, I'm cool with them changing the name. I'm cool with that.
They
but
should
I
change
think
the name. It's well
the
overdue.
Cracker Killers.
What they had names like Washington Presidents. Like really?
Yeah, nah.
The favorite right
they
now
could
is
call-
the Warriors.
The Washington
Washington
Warriors. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
that's the
one
favorite
either.
right now.
I don't
Well, they
like
can't
that
use
one either.
Patriots. Patriots would have been a good one, but they can't use
I don't like that. I don't like that one
Sentinels.
either.
They're talking about the Sentinels too, the Washington Sentinels.
It's going.
That's
Yeah.
right. Washington Sentinels.
Yeah, but Arizona lost their running back, their number one their go-to running back.
How about this trash? Just call them Washington trash. Like, you know what I mean? They ain't been doing nothing. Just put like a
Philadelphia
yo,
Pigeons.
Y'all could just put Glad. Y'all could just put
might
a
as well
Glad
call y'all
bag
the
on the side
Pigeons.
on the side of the
Philadelphia
Glad
Pigeons.
y'all could put a
Wow,
Glad
yeah.
trash bag with the
Yeah,
twisty
y'all
top.
got one Super Bowl
Twisty
out of
top.
y'all whole existence, and you sit here talking. When you catch up, then you can say something. Fuck out of here.
But we got four.
Y'all ain't got nothing. Y'all got a
We got
quarter.
championships
Y'all got
and one Super Bowl.
Y'all got a quarterback that can't even finish the whole season. Y'all got a quarterback can't even finish the whole season.
All right, y'all.
we
Thank
got a
y'all for.
we got a
for
quarterback.
coming
All
on
right,
to-
man. On that
We
note,
got a
we ain't
quarterback.
talking no more about no.
Thank y'all for coming for the Men of Honor podcast.
Washington
But no,
Bucks.
but Patrick Mahomes, I mean, that's must-watch TV. I could say,
Yeah.
like he's on. I'm watching. I think that's the only reason why I came back to football. After Peyton Manning retired, that's the only reason I came back to football.
Shit, he might be doomed now.
I see what Frank's doing here. Frank got him his rookie year. He got Pat Mahomes his rookie year. Pat went off, and now, wow, Frank. I
like excitement. I like when Peyton. No, when Peyton Manning came, like that was like when he first came in the league, I was like, all right. And then like I kept watching, I'm like, yo, this dude's gonna be a problem. And then ever since then, like
Peyton Manning was not exciting.
what?
All right.
He be like, Peyton Manning be like, boom, boom, boom,
On that
bang,
note, man.
bang, 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 touchdown. Like, damn. That's how Patrick Mahomes is. That's what he remind me of.
All right.
Yeah,
No,
he's
Pat
one
Mahomes is like,
we like to
Hill,
thank
you brought it
everybody
deep.
for listening to
Here's the
the
ball.
Men on the Podcast, episode 11. Fellas, you guys have a safe week, man. You know what I mean?
All right,
Stay
y'all.
blessed. All right, y'all.
All right,
CLD,
y'all too.
Greg?
All right.
See you
CLD?
Later tonight, yeah, I'll be on. I'll be
All right,
on later
Eve.
tonight. I'm doing
Hey.
overnight, Frank.
Eve.
Overnight COD.
Greg,
Overnight.
Frank, Rock,
Yo.
we out.
All right.
All right.
Get the hell on.
Yo.